Mingla, welcome to Myanmar Today. I am Henry Zin with the latest news and reports from around Myanmar. Argajo brings us a first report on 70% of Myanmar rubber sold to China. Airlines coverage on air pollution yet to be in an alarming state in Yangon. Thoda Swizin has a report on reunion with the childhood friends, the old cartoon characters. Our reporter Thoda in Beijing covered a story on changes through a writer's eyes, interview with Writer Hein Latt. Before we get to the reports, let's check on some local news. Union Minister for Commerce Dr. Tham Minh received Australian Ambassador to Myanmar Andrea Faulkner in Naypyidaw on Tuesday. During the meeting, the officials cordially and openly discussed matters on increasing bilateral trade, ASEAN-Australia Free Trade Agreement, increasing all-round economic cooperation in the region, Myanmar agriculture products meeting quality standards and following sanitary and phytosanitary norms, technical cooperation in transport, basic infrastructure and logistics sectors, plan for raising the capacity of staff, implementation of Myanmar Special Economic Zones, and raising ease of doing business ranking. A launch ceremony for Myanmar Services Trade Enhancement Project was held at the Horizon Lakeview Resort Hotel in Naypyidaw on Tuesday. At the event, Deputy Minister for Commerce U Aung Tu said that Myanmar is successful in trade to a certain extent. Service industry must develop with trade. Towards that end, Myanmar Services Trade Enhancement Project will be carried out from June this year to June 2022 to support GDP and job opportunities of Myanmar. Transparency is a necessity in the service industry and young entrepreneurs must be competitive in Myanmar economy. Then, the Enhanced Integrated Framework Executive Director Dr. Ratnakar Adhikari said that Myanmar is about to get LCD graduation, which means getting out of the list of least developed countries. So it is important to engage more in service trade. Business sectors such as travel, banks, production of export items must be extended. Some relaxations are needed for trade in services. The EIF will assist service industry, which is a driving force for Myanmar to get out of least developed countries. The head of the Veterinary and Slaughtering Departments of the committee, May Aung, said the Yangon City Development Committee will discourage citizens from feeding pigeons by raising awareness on the health hazard posed by the practice, with the help of vinyl stickers and posters. He said pigeons are drawn to an area when people put out food for them, posing a threat to human health and contributing to environmental pollution. The pigeons will surely flock to any place where there is a food source. To discourage pigeons, food must be cleared up as proximity to pigeons can be dangerous for human health. Besides, pigeon droppings are unsightly and can cause damage to parked cars and surroundings and be a nuisance to passers-by. Complaints have been filed with the YCDC seeking removal of pigeons. The head of the YCDC's administrative department, Min, said under the existing law, sellers of pigeon food can face fines and/or a prison sentence. The YCDC is liable to remove only dogs, rodents, and crows. But they will remove other animals which can spread diseases. Public cooperation is needed to end the practice of feeding pigeons. And that's all with the local news, and we're moving on to our first report. About 70% of Myanmar rubber are exported to China, and Thailand is the second main importer. This was said by the Myanmar Rubber Planters and Producers Association at a press conference at the UMFCCI for the upcoming International Rubber Conference in Naypyidaw. For more on the rubber production and export, Akajo will tell us more.
It is noted that about 70% of Myanmar rubber are exported to China, and Thailand is the second main importer. This was said by Myanmar Rubber Planters and Producer Association (MRPPA) at the press conference for the coming International Rubber Conference in Naypyidaw. Myanmar is set to host the International Rubber Conference from September 30th to October 1st. Jointly organized by the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Irrigation and Myanmar Rubber Planters and Producer Association, the conference will take place in Myanmar. About 500 participants from 20 countries are expected to join the conference. For more on the rubber production, Wu Lamian, advisor to the association, explained.
There are over 1.6 million acres of rubber plantation land. About 800,000 acres are active for the commercial production. As far as we are concerned, about 60% of the rubber species are clean and good. However, the quality needs consistency. Here, the role of grower is very crucial in keeping the quality consistent. The rubber growers here are in dire need of the training and knowledge on the technology. China is the top importer of Myanmar rubber, and Thailand comes second on the list. About 70% of the rubber are sold to China and some percentage to Thailand.
Official data shows that about 300,000 tons of rubber are produced per year. The experts commented that a lot need to be done to improve the rubber quality. Wu Hantonzo, Chief Operating Officer of Southland Myanmar Company Limited, said,
We need to improve the quality to be acceptable in the international market as it decides the price for the rubber. Only very small percentage of the rubber is consumed locally, and most of them are exported. The status in international market is the key factor which decides the price of the rubber. So the quality is the key. Here the planters think all they need to do is to make the product look exactly like the sample. But that's just superficial appearance. There are many things which can only be seen on lab equipment, as well as foreign materials content. And so they fail the lab test, and their rubber is not acceptable in the world market.
Myanmar Rubber's Planters and Producer Association joined the International Rubber Research and Development Board IRRDB in 2017. And Myanmar now grabs a chance to host the conference. Wu Aung-myeon-tu, chairman of MRPPA, explained more on the conference.
The conference is aimed at serving as a platform for sharing international work experience related to rubber cultivation and production, especially the growing method and seed germination for plantation from participating countries. About 60 research papers will be read at the conference with 9 papers from Myanmar. Please don't take this conference as the one designed only for the experts. This will also be beneficial for the planters.
Currently, Thailand is the world's largest rubber producer with an annual yield of about 4.6 million tons. Indonesia is the second largest producer, yielding about 2.4 million tons per year. Meanwhile, Malaysia produces about 2.2 million tons a year. Myanmar, with help of other international organizations, is working to become the primary exporter of rubber at a time when international demand for rubber is rising. This is Agajo reporting for Myanmar International Radio.
That's a report on 70% of Myanmar rubber sold to China. Alright, we'll move on to weather forecast now. In Yangon, it's going to be very warm, sun and areas of high clouds, then rather cloudy, probably a shower in the area during the day, and there'll just be patchy clouds at night. The daily outlook is around 34 degrees Celsius high, but it's going to feel like 40 degrees Celsius. There's about 42% chance of rain for the day. In Naypyidaw, it's going to be rather cloudy, a thunderstorm in 1 or 2 spots in the afternoon. And it'll be partly to mostly cloudy, a thunderstorm around late at night. The daily outlook is around 29 degrees Celsius high, but it's going to feel like 35 degrees Celsius. There's about 41% chance of rain for the day. In Mandalay, it's going to be rather cloudy, a thunderstorm in spots in the morning, then a brief shower or two during the day. But there'll be patchy clouds, a thunderstorm in spots late at night. The daily outlook is around 30 degrees Celsius high, but it's going to feel like 35 degrees Celsius. There's about 56% chance of rain for the day. Stay with us, we have a report from Year 9, and then we'll check on the stocks and currency exchange rates. Environmental pollution is a serious matter in climate change. With the advancement in technology, the world's cities are home to the industrial plants and traffic congestion, and it becomes a place of massive carbon emission. So governments and environmental activists around the world are setting up goals for climate change and decarbonization. Today, we will find out more on how our city of Yangon is tackling to control and fight air pollution. Our reporter Year 9 got a chance to interview one of the officials from YCDC. Let's hear him.
The world has changed. Weather is getting more extreme. There are more and more natural disasters. Many people are displaced in their homes, not due to conflicts and wars, but due to climate change. And when it comes to climate change, cities can be seen as the worst polluted areas with a large population, industrial plants, and much more. So the world is struggling to tackle with environmental pollution, a key factor in fighting climate change. And the topic becomes the frontline agenda in many international summits. We take a look at air pollution level here in the city of Yangon, which is the most densely populated city in Myanmar, as well as most of local and foreign enterprises are located. An official from the Pollution Control and Cleansing Department of YCDC said, according to data resulted from measuring air pollutants for 4 consecutive years, Yangon is not in the alarming state.
The air quality of Yangon is not yet in the alarming level. It is even better, especially during the rainy seasons. I like to say it remains under the standard level. But during the heat of summer, the quality is scaling up a little above the standards. At the moment, we can say the air quality in Yangon is not in the serious state.
As Yangon is home to local and foreign industrial plants, with daily heavy flow of traffic on the roads, it becomes exactly where YCDC has initiated the monitoring plan on air pollution level since 2016. The committee has measured air pollutant levels altogether in 67 areas. There are 3 permanent monitoring stations in front of Yangon City Hall, in Ledan, and in Mingladong, which has green atmosphere, and the remaining areas are measured using mobile system.
Basically, we calculate the air quality based on atmospheric index. In this way, we can study whether the area is polluted or not. But the measurement process is quite complicated and duration can differ. The specified area can be measured for an hour or 2 or a day, and even can be measured for a month or a year. Depending on these periods, the standards can be different. But the problem is all the data we collect are different and the results may not be the same. So we have to do data collection again for 5 years. And we have to do analysis to get standard index. That is why we have to wait about 5 years to get the new index. We have been going through measurement processes since 2016 to until now.
According to the results from previous 4 years, air pollution level in Yangon is under the standard index, but it is a bit higher during the summer.
According to analysis, we find out high level concentrations of SO2, sulfur dioxide, and NO2, nitrogen dioxide, compound in industrial zones. Carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide in downtown Yangon due to traffic congestion and CO2 emissions. And we also find out the higher level of methane gas emission, especially near the landfills. There are also high level of pollution near drainage system. People carelessly dump waste into it, resulting methane emissions.
And there are also harmful particles coming from the smoke from the burnt paddy fields along the other side of the river in Jimyandine Township.
And we need to control and reduce CO2 and methane emissions, which is above standard level, and not only in our city, but in cities of the world. So, what we have to do is to tackle the problem and reduce it. We will find solution to destroy the air pollutant particles and the gas. So the best solution is to calculate the average concentrations based on the data we have for 5 years. And then we will do the data collection process again for the next 5 years. And we will compare our standard index to that of WHO, ASEAN, and European Commission. There, if we find out our standard exceeds them, we will reduce it.
All over the world, about 3.7 million people die every year from exposure to fine particles in polluted air. Among them, 2.6 million people are from Southeast Asia and West Pacific regions. At the moment, only 12% of the world's cities meet with the WHO's air quality standards, and only half of the world's urban population can get high-quality air.
That's a report on air pollution yet to be in an alarming state in Yangon. And here we have the information on currency rates from Myanmar Central Bank. $1 is at 1,533 kyats. 1 Chinese renminbi is at 215 kyats. €1 is at 1,685 kyats. 1 pound sterling is at 1,906 kyats. 1 Singapore dollar is at 1,113 kyats. 1 Malaysian ringgit is at 366 kyats. 1 Thai baht is at 50 kyats, and the Indian rupee is at 21 kyats. Gold is trading at $1,529. Silver is at $18, and Brent crude oil is at $56. On the Yangon Stock Exchange, FMI remains at 12,000. MTSH remains at 4,300. MCB dropped 400 at 8,200. FPP dropped 500 at 26,500. TMH remains at 3,050. You're watching MI Radio's Myanmar Today. Go ahead and log on to our website, miradio.com.mm, and listen to our radio programs live on the website. We're also running on FM 96.1 in Yangon, 96.5 in Manali, and 96.7 in Naypyidaw. Or you can simply download MI Radio app on your smart devices so you can listen to our radio programs on the go. Just type in Myanmar INTL Radio and you'll see the app appear. So go ahead and download it and make sure it stays on your smartphones. Well, we have more reports for you, so let's check out the next one. The old Myanmar comic books are still valued by the comic fans. Famous characters from these old comics are our childhood friends, and they are unforgettable. Dora Suizin will tell us more about the old comic industry.
The comic world in Myanmar of 20th century is not unforgettable. The comic books of that time were really appreciated by both adults and children. Many cartoon characters were the nostalgia of everyone's childhood. The fans of old Myanmar comics have got a chance to meet with the cartoonists who created their favorite comic characters at the first Myanmar Comic Festival held at Yangon Book Plaza. The creator of Mon-Fri cartoon, cartoonist Sia Titun said,
I was interested in science, so when I started my career as cartoonist, I created Mon-Fri. Because of my curiosity, I have studied science, and all of my cartoons are all about science, including knowledgeable and funny stories.
This character Mon-Fri has been the adorable superhero for the children.
In our days, we had to create our own character if we wanted to start our career as a cartoonist. At the time, the comic industry was really developing and popular. The cartoonists chose their own characters based on their interest and competency. It was a little bit competitive, but it was diverse. At our time, we used only pens, pencils, and paper to create a cartoon story. Now, many youths use computer to create comics. The difference is that by using computer, it becomes easier and better in coloring. In the previous age, we had to do many steps for coloring, and yet the colors were not so much attractive. So this is the only difference. So in short, no matter how the technology is improved, this is the art you have to create with your own hands.
After the golden age of the comic books, there becomes lesser number in cartoonists. The books were barely found in the bookstores. Witnessing the declining situation of Myanmar comics industry, new generation has been striving to make it alive again. Nowadays, many digital cartoonists and animators have started to produce the good quality comics. Being the animator Go telling on set, he has got inspired by the senior cartoonists.
I was growing up with the comic books of Myanmar cartoonists. I like all the stories and the characters of the comic books I read. Because of these books, I feel like my childhood was meaningful. Every cartoonist has their own characteristics and styles. When I was young, I copied the drawing of these senior cartoonists until I became the animator and am able to create my own characters. The advantage of comic books is that people easily observe the knowledge by reading cartoons rather than reading the book full of text. The comic books are highly interested by both adults and children.
When I was young, there was a rental bookstore in front of my school. As soon as I arrived at school, I just went there and borrowed some comic books. There are many comic characters I like, such as Bobo, Momauza, and Lemon Twimon.
Even though some of the senior cartoonists have not continued publishing the books and the old books are rarely found in the bookstores, the old comic books are still valued and the characters are always still loved by the audience. That's all for now. This is Dora Susan from MI Radio.
That's a report on reunion with the childhood friends, the old cartoon characters. Well, here's the last report on changes through a writer's eyes. Interview with Writer Hein Latt. China is going to celebrate its 70 years anniversary on October 1st. Our reporter Thora in Beijing met with Writer Hein Latt, who was visiting China on an official program. Let's hear from her.
Hello everyone, this is your reporter Thora reporting you from MI Radio. The 70th anniversary of establishing the People's Republic of China is coming up in the first week of October. During these 70 years of time, China has changed its interface in economy, social, political, and other single aspects of the country. So today I'm gonna present you about the successful changes of China during these 70 years of time through the eyes of a writer and also an analyst. So let's take a look.
One News Channel General Manager
Writer Hein Latt is a well-known writer in the country, and many of his books relating to China are acknowledged by various kinds of readers. He really interested in China, and it has been a long time that he was writing about China's political, economy, and leaders' profile. He already published 9 books relating to China, and there are 2 more books in the process to be published in this year.
က Belt and Road Initiative နော်ရဝင်းတစ်ခုလမ်းတစ်ခုနော်စီမံချက်အဲ့တစ်ခုရယ်နောက်တစ်ခုကရှီကျင်းပင်အကြောင်းပဲရှီကျင်းပင်နဲ့နိုင်ငံတကာဆက်ဆံရေးနဲ့ပတ်သက်တဲ့အကြောင်းများတော့ရရှိပါတယ်
The People's Republic of China was founded on 1st October 1949 with the declaration of Chairman Mao Zedong at the ceremony hosted in Tiananmen Square. In December 1949, the Chinese government passed the resolution on the National Day of the People's Republic of China, declaring that 1st October is the National Day of China. Writer Hein Latt mentioned that he is more interested in the revolution history of China and how they make changes in their economy.
အဲ့တော့မဟုတ်ဘူးကျွန်တော် sinologist ဖြစ်အောင်ကြိုးစားတယ်အဲ့တော့ရုပ်ပြည်ကိုအရင်ခေတ်ကတမိုင်းကအစားလေ့လာတယ်အထူးသဖြင့်ကတော့ဥဒ္ဒိုင်းမော်နော်
I am trying to be a sinologist and learn about China, including their histories, especially Chairman Mao and his achievements of establishing the People's Republic of China, which we should acknowledge all the time. Also, thanks to Deng Xiaoping, China's economies got enlightened and opened to the world. To be honest, when I come to China years before, I only saw the blue shirt walkers on the road. But now we can see that China is a country which can use the latest technologies and consume many of the luxury products and also becomes the world's second largest economy.
ကောင်းဆုံးဆိုရင်ဈေးကြီးဆုံးနဲ့နိုင်ရည်နော်အဖို့တန်ပစ္စည်းတွေအများဆုံးသုံးစွဲတဲ့နိုင်ငံအဆင့်ထိရောက်လာပြီးတော့ကမ္ဘာပေါ်မှာစီးပွားရေးကလည်းနံပါတ်1ဖြစ်လာတယ်
During the interview, he mentioned that he has been to China for 12 times already, and this is his 4th time to Beijing. And the significant thing he found out in here is the green environment, and he was impressed with China's environmental protections.
Ecological, eco-friendly ပေါ့နော်
The next thing I see relating to the changes in China is the eco-friendly environmental protection. I have been to China a lot of times before, and now I found out that China has become more greener, and I saw trees in everywhere. The other days I went to Beijing International Horticulture Expo, and I saw that China transformed the wild and deserted areas into green and protect the forests and wildlife species of those areas.
ဖုံးစိုးမြေတွေကိုတစ်တော်ကြီးအဖြစ်ပြောင်းနေတာသူပြင် wild duck park တို့ပါလို့ဆိုဒါတဘာဝပတ်ဝန်းကျင်ကိုကောင်းမှထိန်းသိမ်းထားလို့တိုးရင်တိရစ္ဆာန်ကြီးနော်ငှက်ကြီးဒါရောက်မြည်နေထိုင်တာတော့တူပြရတယ်ပေါ့နော်
Okay, so that's all about my interview with Writer Hein Latt on the topic of China's achievements in 70 years of time. Next time, I will be bringing you more interesting topics in Beijing and China. So stay tuned and see you later.
That's all the reports we have for today. Well, we got a few more international news for you, so let's take a look. On September 20th, the 7th Forum on China-ASEAN Technology Transfer and Collaborative Innovation and the 10+3 Young Scientist Forum were held in Nanning. About 500 people attended the events, with important leaders from science and technology authorities, university research institutions, and business community in China and ASEAN countries. Fei Zirong, vice chairman of the Guangxi-Zhuang Autonomous Region, said in his opening speech that with the strong support of the science and technology departments of China and ASEAN countries, Guangxi has carried out scientific and technological innovation to support the high-quality development of the industry, including scientific and humanities exchanges, joint laboratories and technology parks construction and technology transfer, establishing an intergovernmental bilateral technology transfer mechanism with building 27 ASEAN joint laboratories and agricultural technology parks in 9 ASEAN countries. Microsoft has released an emergency update for its Internet Explorer browser to fix a bug that cyber thieves are known to be exploiting. It warned the bug could let attackers hijack a web browser and use their access to install malware. Attackers are believed to have built booby-trapped web pages harboring malicious code that infects visitors. In a description of the problem, Microsoft said versions 9 to 11 were vulnerable. Anyone regularly using Internet Explorer is being urged to download and apply the patch. Typically, Microsoft releases patches for software bugs in its monthly update. However, the severity of the problem and the fact that it was being abused led it to issue a rare emergency patch. Statistics suggest just over 8% of people are still using Internet Explorer. And that's all we have on Myanmar Today. Catch the show broadcast on MITV every evening, Monday to Friday at 8:30. Alternatively, you can join me on MI Radio from 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m., 1 to 1:30 p.m., and from 7:30 to 8 in the evening. We love to receive your comments and messages, so don't forget to drop them on our Facebook posts. We'll be back with more news and reports. Thank you for joining us. I am Henry Zin. Have a great day, everyone.